top on, and I feel alright. I got a few joints rolled, and my munchies made. Got my headphones on, and I close the door, don't disturb me. It's time to stand up tall and say some things about the shitty world we're living in with the boys at Raconteurs News. C'est Raconteurs, c'est Raconteurs, c'est Raconteurs News, Raconteurs News, Raconteurs News, Raconteurs News, Raconteurs News. Oh yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to Tuesday evening on Raconteurs News. And, well, what can I say? Other than it feels an awful lot like I'm living in a movie. And I think you all know what the movie is. It's Groundhog Day. What do you reckon, Jason?
Well, it's just, it's incredible, isn't it? How they just keep doing these things. To be fair, I've got so sick of them that I just don't even bother anymore. I don't even bother looking. I've seen a few videos, I've seen a few things, but I'm getting lethargic about it. I'm getting terrorism boredom, if you will, because well, it's obvious that it's not who we're told it is, and every single time. And I guess tonight's going to cover some of the stuff that's been going on recently, and it just, to me, I'm getting a little bit lethargic about it. It just seems to be the same old. It's very predictable. We're coming up to the election. There's been no. The only thing that's been on the agenda, the political agenda, has been security, and not the issues like the NHS. That's all just been put on the back burner, and it just all seems to be just. Like you say, it's a script. It's the global, it's the UK at the moment, the UK motion picture show. It's like a film that's developing in front of us. It's entertainment, and you know how long we've been saying this. I've been saying this since I'd discovered Lennon Honor's work, and I read his book and all that sort of thing, and now it's been for quite a long time. It's just we're getting a lethargy for it. I mean, there's a minute's silence every pair of plates, and there were one today at 11 o'clock, and I'd just come out of doctors, and they got in the car and they said, I think it was about 3 minutes to 11, and they announced, I think it was not Ben Shepherd, who's the guy on you know what I mean, Toby Anstis, that's the guy, and said there's going to be some adverts, and then we're going to have a minute's silence in memory of the people from London that died. Well, I don't know anybody from London that died, so I'm not going to remember anybody, am I? So it just seems that we're getting in, which we were talking about last week, the victim industrial complex, and people are now becoming victims of this terrorism by proxy, by what they're seeing and how they're reacting to the things that they're seeing on the news and stuff like that. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, it has been quite a week.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got a friend texted me. I think it was Saturday night. The latest one in Westminster happened, and he's a mate who lives in town, and he said, "Oh my God, have you seen? It's all kicking off again." And he did text me a few minutes later with a warning to be careful what we say on the radio, because he said they'll have you in shackles soon as look at you. And I just looked at the whiteboard and spotted that the next 4 guests we got booked in were all going to be talking about false flag terrorism. So I thought, I wonder how that worked out. But it's funny how it works out. You know, some months we have 4 guests on who are from the States. Then another time we'll have 4 guests on who are from Canada. Another month we'll have 4 guests talking about weed. It's just this time we've got 4 in a row with false flag terrorism. After Jason tonight, we've got Ole Damagard lined up for next week. And the following week, we've got Max Egan. And then somewhere in amongst that lot, we're going to fit in Dr. Nick Colostrom. He's coming on. He's going to talk to us about his new book. But what we need to do is get hold of his book and read it first. So that's winging its way over from the States as we speak, apparently. So as soon as we get Nick's book here, we'll get him booked in and get a date on the calendar. And we'll have a chat with him. But onward tonight. Sorry, I just wanted to interject about next week's guest. And I do apologise doing this right at the very beginning, but I just want to do it while it's fresh in my mind. I watched an interview that Ollie Damagard gave a couple of days before this latest London thing happened, and he was talking about Manchester, and he was making some great points. So I'm really looking forward to being able to grill him and hopefully put him right again on a few things. No, but we've got a great guest tonight. This is it's his first time on radio. He's a Sheffield lad, just like myself, and he runs a Facebook page called False Flags and Media Hoaxes.
Right, yeah.
He looks into all these false flag and all the real terrorism incidents and analyses them as well. So I'd like to welcome Jason. Jason, how you doing? Jason Green.
I'm doing good, thanks. I've had a bit of toothache recently. First time on radio, a little bit nervous, but yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's all right. Don't be nervous. There's nobody listening. It's just us having a little chat. What we try and do is we just try and have it like it's just a conversation. Three of us sat round a table in a pub, just learning what each other knows.
Yeah, very good. Yes, I'll start by, I'll explain about how I woke up, if you like. That's a common term for it, isn't it?
Sorry, Jason, can we just get a bit of context? Can you give us, I don't want to pin you down massively, but like can we give some sort of, because it's your first time on radio, nobody really knows anything about you at all. So can you give some sort of idea of your age group, and that's how old you are, and yeah, how you woke up, and what woke you up?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I'm 47 years old. I have to think about that. How old am I?
Same as me.
Yeah. Two Jasons, same age. But yeah, 47. I'm married. Got 3 kids. One's still at school, so that's pretty much my life these days. I'm like the house husband. I usually do most of my research this morning, listen to Piers Morgan while my wife's got telly on a Monday morning or whatever, and listen to whatever shite they're coming out with and decipher that, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah, I'm a support worker. That's what I do for a living. Support work with people with special needs, that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I've done all my life. I worked in a psychiatric secure unit for a few years. My dad got me that job. So, yeah. Is that enough about me, you think?
Well, we need to get back to how long ago and what was it that woke you up? What made you turn to this sort of let's face it is a lifestyle, isn't it? It's a lifestyle choice. When you won't ignore things and you will try to do something, even if it's just a very little bit. What woke you up, and how long ago was that?
Yeah, it must have been about 2007. My daughter just started nursery school, and before that I'd lived in a bubble watching Peppa Pig, Noddy, that kind of thing, for, previous 2 or 3 years. And she started nursery school, that gave me a little bit of time to myself. I sat down flicking through channels on telly, and I came across on Sky the controversial TV channel. You know what I mean by that? And it had
yes, I do, yeah.
Edge media shows on and what have you.
Yeah.
And that can be 9/11 ripple effect on television, which might surprise a lot of people.
It's quite incredible, that really, isn't it? That back in those days, that 9/11 ripple effect was on, especially since everything's been sort of strangled and throttled at the moment, so you can't get anything anywhere. It's quite a surprising thing that you get 9/11 ripple, 7/7 ripple effect on the Sky platform, which essentially it was.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll surprise quite a few people, and it has done when I've mentioned that. Like, well, that we're on telly kind of thing, especially in America. They just can't believe something like that could be on TV kind of thing. But yeah, I saw that, and then that made me think, well, as it does, it woke me up. I went on computer thinking there must be, another side to this story kind of thing, which I had heard, of course, the official story, and realised it just didn't add up. It didn't take long to realise 9/11 were an inside job kind of thing, and I felt I needed to tell other people. I felt like I was the only person in the world. As I said, I'd lived in a bubble, just looking after my daughter and stuff, watching Noddy. So I got DVD copies made of 9/11 Ripple Effect, and soon after that, like things come up in YouTube at side, 7/7 Ripple Effect came up. So after a while I watched that, I got into that. And I learned about, at the time, Muad'Dib was in Ireland and they were trying to extradite him for the court case. Do you remember back to that? And I got quite involved in that. I set up a petition and I was going on Sheffield Forum trying to, get some support for that going. But as Jason knows, posting on Sheffield Forum, it's very wearing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a common purpose run thing, isn't it? Sheffield Forum. But it's funny you mentioned 7/7 ripple effect. I mean, I've had the guy that made that, John Anthony Hill, or Jar as he likes to be called. He's had a cup of tea on my back garden, so
nice one.
I know him very well.
Yeah, so as I said, I got quite involved in that, and I got some support off a friend of his. What they call Rob Freeman, who went by the name of
a friend. We know Rob Freeman. We've had him on.
Yeah, he contacted me and he gave me a lot of support on threads. What I made about him, and then the man himself contacted me when he got released from prison, thanking me, what have you, for which were nice. Yeah, so but yeah, it's a character, isn't he? All right. So
yeah, he is a character. Yeah, he likes really, 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 really weak tea. I mean, you have to threaten the hot water with the tea bag, and that's all. He likes really, really weak tea.
Very strange man. So yeah,
I can understand. When you say you felt isolated and you felt quite like alone, and you needed to tell everybody. I mean, that's quite a natural reaction. That's what most people do when they wake up and they try to tell people around them and say, "Look, can you not see this? Can you not see that? And can you not see this?" And you sort of feel like it's quite a lonely place, isn't it, at first?
Yeah, it's like on that the Live thing, isn't it? That famous thing, like the fight, trying to get someone to see what you're seeing, kind of thing. But yeah, I think when I'm on a one-to-one with people, like I'd be at work and what have you, and I'd talk to them, and it seemed like they accepted it, kind of thing, and they'd believe it. But you go online and it's a totally different story. It's like people say anything, but except for the official story is not correct, kind of thing. So yeah, it becomes very wary. I kept at it, those Sheffield Forum, and again it were Rob Freeman. He and I were commenting a lot on the 9/11 thread on there, and it must be one of the most popular threads on there. It had hundreds of thousands of views and comments, and then one day it disappeared. And now, I'm saying I've not even tried for months, but if you post anything about 9/11 or 7/7 on Sheffield Forum, they delete it or close the thread. Say it's been discussed to death in the past, there's no more to be said, kind of thing. So you can't even post anything about it on there. So I went from there really to Edge Media Forum, and I bumped into you on there, didn't I, as well?
Yes, I think you did, yeah.
Yeah, so I did that for a bit. Then I got a bit fed up with forums. I ended up just being on Facebook, like a lot of people now, I think. do it like that. And again, I bumped into you on there, and to Jason on Facebook.
Facebook, we seem to bump into each other everywhere, don't we?
Yeah, we do, but never in real life. In fact, I think this is probably the first time you've heard my voice, isn't it?
I think it is. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of you either.
I'm very mysterious. I should put video on. I feel all right ignorant here, but yeah. You will see me one day.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I'm sure we'll meet up for a beer or something one day when Tony Farrell and Jar are in town, because I'm sure that they'd like to meet up with you just as much as as I would. So
weak tea.
Yeah, very weak tea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very weak
tea.
Don't forget your Bible.
Yeah. You told me then two had gone off to Ireland and.
They're in Scotland at the moment. I think they're in Scotland. They're in Edinburgh. They're doing a thing called Indie Camp.
Right.
And I think Jar's just been in prison again, or one of them's just been in prison again.
Really?
For look, I'm skirting off the top of my head. This is just speculation, but something to do with a contempt of court or something like that. But they're doing something up in Scotland. Things have been really hectic for me for the last few weeks, so I've not really been keeping up, but I keep getting the odd message from Tony Farrell with links in it and that, and I'm just struggling to keep up with him all. So, but yeah, they're in Scotland, I think they are.
Yeah, that's something else. When Tony Farrell were going through all that, and I put some threads on Sheffield Forum supporting him, and I did end up meeting Tony. I met him once, and I did see him at a talk Richard Hall were doing up in Barnsley. One of his little, Richard D. Hall, Rich Planet. I went to watch one of his talks, and I met him there as well. But yeah, I've not heard from him for a long time, because he got into this thing with that's a woman calling herself Seven. Remember that? And she said she'd had these ideas for a TV show still, and you got involved in that. I don't know, I just felt like being led down a dark alley with that one. It all seemed a bit weird. So
yeah, I know from, because I do communicate with Tony on a weekly basis, and I do know that he's distancing himself from Seven at the moment. I don't know why. They were sort of mysterious, and I don't know what the whys and the wherefores are, but I do know that he did say that in fact, we had him on last year, didn't we, Andy, to do a Hillsborough update.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and he did mention then, didn't he? Because we said we were going to try and get him and Seven on, but he said, no, I don't, we don't work together anymore. We're not, so something's happened there. I don't know exactly what it is. But Tony's still active, and he's still doing his stuff.
Yeah, good. Yeah, he's a good man. So I got to so being on Facebook, and I didn't really like so much posting everything false flaggish on my own page, if you like, on my personal page, because I didn't want to seem obsessed, even though I am. So I made up this false flags and media hoaxes pages. If anyone would like to join that, they're very welcome. So and so I've been chatting with Jason about this Manchester thing, and like everyone else, well, I first heard about it on that night. I went to bed having a flick through Facebook, and I saw there'd been this terrorist thing in Manchester, and I fell asleep soon after that, to be honest, because like you were saying earlier, I'm just getting bored with it all now. And woke up next morning, so I went into the kitchen, my wife had got telly on, says there's been this terrorist thing, and then they had people on it. They've got this family, I mean, it's shortly after 7 o'clock, they got a family on who'd apparently been there the night before, left at 10:30. And they got them all lined up, all well made up, all looked like they'd had a brilliant night's sleep and what have been smiling away. I'm thinking that how have they managed to, leave this incident, get to the hotel room, organise an interview for the next morning, and drag your kids through all this this didn't seem right. Something it's looking all very crisis actorish. And then, strangely, I thought there didn't seem to be any, like you usually see the pictures of the bomb scene, don't they? Whether it looks real or not, they usually show you these pictures and the horrible injuries and what have you. But it was strangely lacking this time. So I'm thinking they're not even going to bother trying, or is what they've produced so bad they don't think they can get away with it, with people analysing things and, with that bad they couldn't release it. And then the first thing I saw of anybody I know being involved in any way were a girl who I've known since I was born. Her dad were best friends with my dad's, and we grew up when we were kids, like we were all one big family sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I'd not seen her barely in 30 years, apart from my dad's funeral a few months ago. I saw her there and we've linked up on Facebook. And she put a message on, I think it was the morning after, saying, thank God her son were all right, that he'd been, and he was one that had got home safe. I thought, didn't think much of that. Then my wife came home later that day and said a work colleague of her daughter, who she knows, was at this gig with her daughter. So she knows, I don't want to use names, it's difficult to explain it. But yeah, so it's me, a colleague of my wife, her daughter was there at the concert with her daughter. Mm-hmm. And she said that what she'd seen had left her traumatised. And when I asked her later, she said that she'd seen, at first I thought maybe it were just injuries from people scrambling to get out, that kind of thing. But she said no, she'd seen people with arms hanging off and what have you. So still what I'm seeing from media is making me think hoax and all this lot. I'm thinking maybe they just took her past, one of these crisis things, because they can look very realistic, can't they?
Yeah.
And it's a, so come this way out kind of thing, take them past some people who look horribly injured and you've got some ready-made witnesses kind of thing. So I thought of that as a possibility. And then another one, a mutual friend of me and my wife's, I see her once a week. She usually pops in for a cup of tea. Now her niece is in university in Leeds, and her friend is apparently being injured. They said she's got shrapnel. And even then I'm thinking, is it shrapnel or has she fallen down on glass while scrambling to get out, and it's Chinese whispers and all that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But then a couple of days ago, I think it was that day I contacted you, Jason, she came home and said somebody both me and my wife know, she in our school, we all went to school together, me and my wife. This girl was in our class at our school, and she said she'd known the girl who died, this Kelly Brewster, and she were very upset about it. I'm thinking, right, this is a bit different, you can't explain that one with sort of crisis actors kind of thing. So she's died. Now, I looked her up on Facebook, I looked on her friends list, and she's got friends on her list who are related to me. So, this is no sort of made-up character like often I think these people are. But, you know what I mean? So that's left me a bit perplexed. I mean, can you think of any sort of explanation for that other than...
Has this made you reevaluate what you've previously thought about other incidents? Because, I mean, this was so close to home, especially for you, because you've got somebody that you knew that was involved in it. In fact, I think there's more than one person, wasn't it, that was involved in it. So did it make you reevaluate what you thought about other things in the past?
Well, that's because it's making me think, if it's happened in this one, has it in others? I can't. Like, going back to Westminster London Bridge, I can't believe it. Have you seen the videos showing dummies? I mean, there's no doubt in my mind they've used dummies on Westminster Bridge. So,
well, the obvious one, Jason, is the dummy that's placed behind the bus wheel. It's half on the pavement, half on the road. it's placed there as if the bus has the rear wheels of the bus, a double drive axle wheel has driven over the body, and there's no blood, there's no squashed anything, and there's all the shoes neatly laid on the pavement, which always seems to be a common factor, doesn't it?
Yeah. The shoes thing. Yeah, because when you mention the shoes, these that is the other dummy I was going to mention. It's the one where it appears the woman's giving it mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, although she can't be, because you wouldn't give it to somebody who's conscious, and somebody who's conscious don't have their arm stuck up in there, do they?
No.
I mean, and the position's all wrong, everything. And yeah, when the shoes are not in the picture, the right arm stuck up, I think it is, and when the shoes are in the picture, it's the other arm stuck up and the other one's down.
Yeah,
and in the video, when you pass, it looks like you see the woman push down the left arm, and it moves like it's on a hinge, the arm. There's no other movement at all. So, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that one's a dummy as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's also one looks like just legs with a jacket on and no head, but it looks like they stuffed the hood full of newspaper. But yeah, a bit difficult to... people have done videos, I think, now looking at them more closely. It's a bit more obvious, but... Yeah. So yeah, I've no doubt that. I've no doubt about Manchester. I'm sure there's fakery going on. I'm sure there is crisis actors, but I can only think they want us to think that people, want us conspiracy theorists, if you like. They want us all to be screaming hoax, and while I now know there are people who at least think they have lost a loved one, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think a very clear definition, a distinction we need to make here, Jason, is the difference between hoax events and false flag events. Now, a hoax event is something which is entirely an acted out falsehood, but then you've got a false flag, which goes back to the when Britannia ruled the waves, and what Britain would do if they wanted to start a war with, for example, Spain. They'd get one of their ships, they'd hoist the Spanish flag up, attack one of their own ships, and then say, oh, look what the Spanish have done, we need to invade Spain. And that's how that works. So in a false flag event, people may be injured and die. We need to make that very clear. So we do need to be mindful of that. It is very difficult to tell whether there are real casualties, because, a glaring one for me was the Boston bombing. Now, it particularly stuck in my mind, that one, because I'm from a little town on the east coast of England called Boston, and I was just going through my links, as I do, on the day, and I saw... terror drill at Boston Marathon, and I thought, didn't know we got a marathon in town. And when I looked at it, it was the Boston Globe newspaper was showing the pictures of all these guys with the black, with the craft baseball caps and the desert boots, and I thought, woo, here we go. Now what's going off here? Now that was before I was on the radio and had quite so many connections. I tried to alert as many people as I could to that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make enough noise, and my comments were disregarded. But when it did happen, it felt very strange that I knew that was going to happen. But when you look at the footage afterwards... some of the victims there, if not all of them, they were clearly actors. Particularly the guy with the cowboy hat who was in the wheelchair, sat up in a wheelchair, just having had your leg blown off, you'd bleed to death in a matter of seconds. That was not a real injury. And from what I remember, we saw quite soon after that event... the guy who was in the wheelchair with his leg missing had apparently lost his leg in Iraq, hadn't he?
Yeah, it seemed that way. I think they were a bit, it was a bit questionable, that one, a bit unclear whether it was true or not, I think. I forgot his name now. Yeah, difficult one, but yes, definitely hoax, that one.
Mm.
Because, yeah, when the bomb goes off there's a camera moves straight towards where the so-called injured people are. But all the crowd of people moving away, none of them are injured. You know, supposedly this big bomb went off. There's no sort. You'd expect injuries from minor injuries right through to these major injuries, but there were nothing. Just this pile of actors weren't in the middle of it all, and everyone moved away. So, yeah, definite hoax. I think the thing is, I'd sort of convinced myself. I'd come up with this theory about how they get people to be crisis actors and not speak out or what have you, and I'll go through that. So, if you imagine, like, Jason, you know, they advertised, didn't they, in newspaper a few months ago for people in Sheffield to come forward for any crisis. It's like they were doing a crisis thing in Sheffield, weren't they?
Exercise, yeah, they were doing an exercise in Sheffield, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in the advertise, like, say I'd turned up for that and I took part in this exercise, and they'd be like, hey, we're really good, we're impressed, you know, would you like to come and, you know, do some more work for us? And then they select certain people who they think might come on board, and they say something like, right, if you want to come and work for security services, we've got information, intelligence of a terrorist attack, what's supposed to be happening, and we need to make them think it's happened to protect, you know, our agents or whatever, protect their identity, kind of thing. You know, so basically make these crisis actors think they're doing something good for the country and protecting us from real terrorism. You know, they could say this event would have happened anyway if we'd not broken it, kind of thing. You see what I'm saying? So they think they're doing something good. But if there's people really dying in these things, then that sort of rubbishes up my theory on that kind of thing, doesn't it?
But again, that ties in with the theory that Jar comes up with in, or Muad'Dib, or whatever he calls himself these days, comes up with in 7/7 Ripple Effect and 7/7 Ripple Effect 2, that these Muslims that were selected, I think it were one of them. I think it was Mohammed Siddiqui Khan that had been a guest of one of the MPs at Westminster not long before, well, yeah. And so it does tie in that with being able to get him in and say, look, this is what we're doing. We're going to do this this drill. And we're going to teach people, and we're going to, and so, you know, all the things like the videos that they did beforehand, where they're saying it all ties in with the theatre that they're told that they're going to be portraying it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what have I got to? Yeah. So again, yeah. I'll talk about people I'd heard about being involved in some way. So, yeah, there were... The first one I mentioned, she was there with her son and Peter up. A few days after I posted something, but when that video came out, you know, the one apparently... the video from in the foyer, and it looked like, a crisis actors scene. Mm-hmm. You know the one I mean? The leaked video, I think they called it. Mm. So I posted that on my Facebook, and she replied on that one, and it turned out that her son, she said he were yards away from the blast when it went off. He saw smoke, heard a loud bang, and heard what sounded like gunfire afterwards. And she said she'd heard or were told that that gunfire noise with bolts and what have you flying around and bouncing off things and thing. And I did suggest to her that it could have been involved or close to a pyrotechnic. I said if we were yards away, he's not being injured, you know.
No, I think you said that he'd not been injured at all, had he? No injuries whatsoever.
No. So obviously he were either far enough away not to get injured if it was a real bomb, so he wouldn't witness that much, you know, if he were that far away. Or if it was so close, it can't have been a real bomb, can it? That's what I'd say, anyway.
Well, as well, while you're mentioning that leaked video, Jason, there's one very important aspect to this for me. Now, it's particularly poignant with the Manchester one, I think, because that was a concert with most of the audience would be kind of young teens, perhaps into their early 20s. Now, obviously, there's going to be some parents in that audience as well, but you've got to think a very large percentage of people would be having some sort of device with them which would be capable of producing photos and videos. Now, people are so keen to post what they've had for breakfast, dinner, tea and supper all over Facebook, Google, YouTube, whatever you want. But strangely enough, at these events, you never get any footage posted by people who were at the scene. I find that really, really strange, to be honest, and very suspicious.
It doesn't show anything really, does it? It's,
No.
It's always poor quality. You see more pavement than anything else. You think, why are they bothering recording if they're not going to record anything, kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a wonder that there's any crimes at all are solved in London, because the CCTV seems to be so bad in London and in Manchester, and it's always the same story, isn't it? You know, it's so obvious. This is the thing, is that it is so obvious once you look at all the different events that have happened. 7/7, the CCTV wasn't working. An Israeli company that was running the CCTV, and the CCTV wasn't working. You know, it just seems to be a common denominator. There seems to be all these like, you know how they say, they always say, they come on the TV when something like this happens, they'll say it has all the hallmarks of an Al-Qaeda or an ISIS attack, right? But nobody ever says it has all the hallmarks of a false flag attack, because there were no CCTV. The terrorists just happened to bring ID with them, just so that, you know, there were no messing about as to who they were. They were always known to the intelligence services. It's just, these are markers. I mean, why aren't people picking up on these, Jason? Why do you think that is?
Oh, God knows. People are asleep, aren't they? They must be. Yeah, it's ridiculous that. Yeah, the big thing about Manchester, I take it still no CCTVs appear, because surely a place like that's going to have it into it, to show him walking into the foyer. We wouldn't have to see him blowing everybody up, would we? But at least just show him walking in there. Can't be that difficult.
No, they've got so lazy. They've got so lazy, and it's so obvious that. And you know, it's like anything else. If you're doing something wrong, the more and more that you get away with it, the more lax you get, and at some point, it's going to have to come out, because God, people can't be that asleep. I mean, you'd have to be. I know you say people are asleep, but you'd have to be in such a deep sleep. In fact, you'd have to be in a coma not to notice that every single time all the things, all the elements they're exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people don't. It's cognitive dissonance and all, and a lot of people don't. I mean, I know people who will all openly admit, they'll say they don't want to know. You know, they'll not look. You know, if they want to, you know, they might disagree with what I think, but when I try and show them why I think that, they don't want to look. You know what I mean? They're happy in their own little world, I suppose.
Yeah.
They think,
Yeah. So what other on your Facebook page, what other false flags have you come across? What and sort of exposed and posted videos on?
I usually just stick with whichever's, you know, around at the moment. Like I said, there's been that many, I can barely keep up with it. the Paris ones, I think they were massive. There were so many anomalies in the Paris thing that was so obviously false flag. But then, like you say, now I'm wondering, are they killing people for real? But I don't know. I just don't know what to think anymore about that. But for anyone out there, obviously my testimony, it's going to be nothing. It's just hearsay. It's just hearsay for me, really. I'm still questioning him. Who was this woman? Because I know somebody who's in. Or my wife knows somebody in Emmerdale Farm, but that's not real either, is it? So.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got Sturm's brought up the Joe Cox, or Joke Cox as he calls it, and we've got Scribble and Mr. Bicker in our end chat room. They're having a bit of a field day. Mr. Bicker says the Prime Monster's aftermath speech mainly concentrated on how internet and instant messages is going to be restricted, not a lot about victims and families. Also, the Prime Monster said this is a terrorist attack and is not connected with any previous attack. How the F did they know? That was quick investigation. And Scribble says Theresa May says we need to sort out the terrorists in Syria and Iraq. What's the point when we can't stop the ones we already have here? They tell us any shite, hoping we believed it. Like they hadn't circumcised the camera lens.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, that was the thing. Going about Manchester, when I got up the next morning after that, the police were saying that they knew exactly the type of device what he used, i.e. a suicide vest. And I thought, they could only know that, surely, if they've had CCTV. Any eyewitness close enough would surely been injured or blown up by it. So they must have CCTV to be so sure that it weren't a planted device or whatever. Yeah. But, nothing's shown up as it's CCTV, apart from them little stills. And as far as I know the paper, one paper I read it said it got his finger on the trigger at the time. In another paper, it said police said they've not revealed when or where these pictures were taken. So, it could have been, and there were some pictures of him from a shopping centre, weren't there? Apparently the day before, buying his rucksack. Oh, scary. And some fruit. A rucksack and some fruit he bought. Got to be healthy, haven't you, if you're blowing yourself up?
Well, yeah.
So,
You wouldn't want to wake up in the morning and have a bit of a sniffle if you're going to blow yourself to pieces, would you?
Yeah, and they had him identified. Again, within hours, and yet this girl from Sheffield, she was reported missing for nearly 2 days, I think, despite being with her family when she was blown up. Well, I'm not sure how that works out.
What for me points to a false flag with this particular Westminster, this last incident on Saturday night, is the fact that they were reporting that the three perpetrators had got bomb packs on them, but they were fake.
Yeah.
So why would a real terrorist put a fake bomb pack on themselves, a body pack on themselves that's fake, that's not going to work? Why? There's no point. They're not going to a fancy dress party, are they? What they're doing is they're going to go and kill people. So if you're going to put a body pack on, a bomb pack on that, that to me that just suggests that they've been told to wear these things. And then they've gone into a situation where they've not really known what's happening, and people have been stabbed and killed, and things like that have happened to them, and then they've been eliminated because of the shoot to kill policy that they've got. So why the hell would terrorists wear fake bomb packs? Yeah,
it's ridiculous, isn't it? There were one similar in. That was in France, might have been Paris again after the Bataclan thing, where a lone wolf terrorist attacked a police station, I believe, with a knife. I suppose I had a gun. But he was shot dead. He's another one who looked terribly like a dummy when he was laid on the floor. But he also apparently was wearing a fake bomb vest. Yeah.
Really? I haven't had a chance to have a look at it, but I see with the breaking incident we got in Paris today, the instrument of choice for the man who attacked the police, and as far as I'm aware, all the cops I've seen in France carry guns, attack the cops with a hammer.
Yeah.
You know, come on.
Hammer time.
I mean, yes, we're led to believe that these people are deranged, but how deranged have you got to be to attack a group of armed policemen with a hammer? It's not really what you'd call smart, is it?
No. No, it was similar, weren't it? I think, didn't he just have a knife? The Westminster Bridge, the first one. I think he used his car, didn't he? And then did he attack Parliament with a knife?
Yeah, well, all the pictures I've seen lately of the cops that are around Parliament, they're all carrying Heckler-Koch MP5 submachine guns. So, really, a knife wouldn't be a weapon of choice there, would it?
Yeah, I was down a few months ago, and I saw plenty around police around. So, no, I wouldn't be wise.
Well, I had a conversation with somebody who was actually in Westminster Palace on the day at the time that it happened, and she said it was really, really weird that the BBC correspondent, I think she's called, I don't even know what she's called, but the BBC correspondent, you know, there's loads of memes about her all over Facebook. I think it's Laura Kuntenberg or something. Anyway, Kuntenberg will probably do.
Kuntenberg.
Yeah, but she said that she was there, and it was like beforehand. She was all buzzing and sort of itching for that something was happening, and she had a film crew with her, which was unusual because normally what she normally just does is just stand outside and get quotes from MPs as they come out of the hall, out of the room, out of the Commons.
Yeah.
And so she said it was like she was like a Kunnersberg. That's it, Laura Kunnersberg. Someone's just put that in chat room. Thank you, Scribble. But she said it was like she was like a coiled spring, and she got a camera crew with her, which was unusual. And when the incident went down, armed police came into the building, told everybody that nobody was allowed to take any pictures, take any videos, or do anything. Nobody was allowed to do anything like that. No pictures, no videos. Everyone to get down on the floor and wait until they're cleared to be able to leave. But this Laura Kunnersberg was doing a piece to camera right there and then. You know, like she knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, very fortunate, that one.
Yeah, but again, I think I saw reports about that for Saturday night when there were BBC actually on the scene when it happened.
Yeah, when who was it who was on the bridge, on that first Westminster Bridge thing? When there's some political figure or other walking along. I think it was who took some of the camera footage.
Wasn't it the one? Is it what? It was the. I think it was the Polish ambassador, weren't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I think I heard Ole Damigard mention it today in an interview that I was listening to. While I'm cleaning the kitchen up today, Ole Damigard said it. I think it was some Polish official who had just, happened to be in a taxi and then got out of the taxi and started taking pictures and was an eyewitness. And I think he made a link between that and between this guy who was seems to be a bit of a Rothschild bitch, and the plane crash which happened. Remember when the entire Polish cabinet were wiped out in Russia?
Yeah.
And it showed a great video as well, an absolutely brilliant video where somebody had gone, the crash had happened, that particular crash had happened, and somebody had gone with the phone and they were videoing, and there were security services shooting people that had survived.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that took the video 5 days later was dead himself, but he'd managed to upload it. So I'll find that out. I'll stick it in the chat room. It's really good. But yeah, I think it was a Polish official that was the one. He was on that bridge and got out of his taxi when the incident was happening, and was well, a huge witness. You know, huge witness to it all.
I've seen some links to that video. I don't think I've actually watched that one yet, Jason. I would like to see that one. But one that's really stuck in my head, particularly with the Manchester one, is the video of all the cops outside the van on the street getting changed. Now, we've got to be careful with that because, admittedly, that video could have been shot anywhere. But I mean, I've seen a lot of van loads of cops, but I've never seen them on the pavement outside getting changed into what looked like civvies. I did see someone debunking that video, saying that the dude's putting camo trousers on because that's what they wear. Well, I've seen a lot of armed cops lately, and I haven't seen any of them wearing camouflage gear in this country. They're all wearing black, aren't they? Like the stormtroopers that they've become.
Yeah, what they've done is they're not going to wear camouflage anyway. What they're going to camouflage themselves away from the shops next. I'll just go and stand in front of this window. I'll go and stand in front of Millets, and then I'll be invisible because like that'll all be camo stuff inside. It's ridiculous. What do you make of that, Jason?
Yeah, I must admit, I posted that video on my Facebook when I saw it. It was probably one of the last things I've posted, actually. And then earlier on, Andy pointed out we should be careful because it could have come from anywhere, which is very true, yeah. But yeah, also I've put on as a comment to the video, I'd looked at this, that's nonsense kind of thing, debunking this video saying that it's policemen getting changed into tactical gear. And I'm like, no, I could understand it if they're all stood there putting stab vests on, bulletproof vests and what have you. But they're putting overalls on and, like you say, camouflage trousers, and they're not police wear. And while they're doing that, there's supposedly these terrorists running around stabbing people. Would changing your clothes be the priority, you know, before you go into the action or whatever? No, it just doesn't make any sense, does it?
No. And I was in Leeds the other day, and a police van went past me, and driving it was a soldier. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Martial law.
Well, yeah, you mentioned martial law, and I thought that was a great point that was made by Freeman Jack when he was on the air with Chuck O'Cherry early hours of this morning. Jack said, as far as he was concerned, that this country has been under martial law at least since the Manchester event, because if you've got armed police and squaddies on the streets, what do you call that if it's not martial law?
Yep.
So really, people are saying, "Oh, martial law's coming next," but in reality, we're there.
And yet, people were predicting that you get martial law on the streets of America before you get it in Britain. I mean, people in the alternative media have been predicting martial law in America for years and years and years, and yet it's here that we've got it. And the reason why we've got it is because we've been disarmed. You can't arm yourself with anything. You can't protect yourself with anything. But then you get armed police on the streets. Whew. Yeah, exactly. The worst narcissistic sort of ego-driven people in society have now got guns, and you know, I think the fact that they've not been able to disarm the American public yet shows that what's going on in Britain shows that they shouldn't, no matter what they do.
Yeah,
they shouldn't allow themselves to be disarmed.
Yeah, good advice that, I'd say. Yeah.
Well, growing up as a country boy, I grew up with guns in the house. When I was a kid, the shotgun laws came in when I was very young, maybe about 5-6 years old, and my dad had, I think he had 2 410s and a 12 bore, and they were stored safely in the airing cupboard, which was in my bedroom. But I knew those guns would kill you if you messed about with them, or could kill someone else. So I knew they weren't toys, and I knew not to touch them, and I never did. Now,
apart from that night you killed your parents.
Yeah, well, we don't talk about that. You know, we just gloss over that bit, Jason. No, but we're told that guns kill people, which is ridiculous. Cars kill people, so do hammers, screwdrivers, anything you want, apart from cannabis, obviously. But
forks make people fat.
Yeah, sugar kills people. You know, but let's ban sugar.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, right, okay, I think we're coming up to the top of the hour. The top of the hour there. Oh, hey, hello there. We're nearly getting to the top of the hour. I think it's about time we had a little bit of a music break. What do you reckon, Andy?
I think that's a blinding idea, Jason, and I'm gonna play one from a band we've not played on Raconteurs News before, but I've met this band a couple of times, and we saw them last at the Beltane Gathering over on the East Coast. It's a band called Merlin's Keep from the Grimsby Cleethorpes area. There's several members of the Naylor family, and great musicians. There's young Amy Naylor, who was making her solo music before she joined the family band. But this is a song that's particularly taken me. It's called Take It Back. So enjoy. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
He never wanted much of anything, just to pay his rent in his spare time, maybe grow a little food and tap the honey from his bees. But the man said, son, no, you can't do that. There are forms and procedures and a council act, so you can't use your land to sustain your own way of life. So he said, I'm gonna take it back. Take it back. I'm gonna take the power back. Gonna take it back. Take it back. I'm gonna take the power back. He had a girl and he promised her there will always be a light shining there. But the man threw a switch that left his home cold and bare. So he went outside and looked up at the sky, at the wind in the trees blowing free and high. And he set some sails and turned to power the lights. He said, I'm gonna take it back. Take it back. I'm gonna take the power back. I'm gonna take it back. Take it back. I'm gonna take the power back. Sitting on his own with the TV on, with the hype and the face the future so bold, unlocked a new song in the key of the brave new world. Now the TV only plays his favorite songs, the lights still burn while the wind still blows. He's found a harmony between the new world and the old. He's gonna take it back. Take it back. He's gonna take the power back. He's gonna take it back. Take it back. He's gonna take the power back. He's gonna take it back. Take it back. He's gonna take the power back. He's gonna take it back. Take it back. He's gonna take the power back. He's gonna take it back. Take it back. He's gonna take the power back. He's gonna take it back. Take it back. He's gonna take the power back. He's gonna take the power back. He's gonna take the power back.
And welcome back to Raconteurs News. We've got Jason Green with us tonight, and we're talking about Jason's experiences and observations with the recent Manchester bombing. Now, while we've been playing that music, and thanks to Merlin's Keep for giving us permission to play their music, and we'll get some more of them on in the near future, Mr. Bicker and Scribble have brought up some interesting points in the RN chat room. The first one, which didn't occur to me, Mr. Bicker says, who would the soldier's insurer be to drive, as the police are insured only as they are driving a particular vehicle at the time? Scribble says, I've heard that the police are only insured if they're involved in an accident. And then Mr. Bicker says, well, the country's not in martial law, as English law has not been suspended. All this is bluff, an act for the minions to rush to the government to be ruled. So, who was the soldier's insurer? That is an interesting point which never really occurred to me.
Yeah, like I said before, I mean there are some vehicles. I don't know what the situation is these days with police vehicles. But I do remember that there used to be particular vehicles that were exempt from insurance, Royal Mail vans for a start. I don't know whether they still are. But I do know that happened in the past, because when I studied law, that was one of the things that the guy that we're teaching us law really wanted to tell us. Yeah, some great points. The country is not under martial law, as English law has not been suspended. So, like he says, Mr. Bicker says, it's all theatre, isn't it? It's all theatre. Yeah,
absolutely. And we've got a question from Sturm. Why two chats? Basically to give people more options. Yeah, we've got a different brand of chat room on Raconteurs News, but very soon we may have a Chitango chat room, the same as the others. There's a little bit of uniformity across all the platforms, so if we can get everybody happily using Chitango, then we'll be over to that, and you'll be able to log in with your same credentials on all of the chat rooms across all the different platforms that we go out on. So if you have problems with one website, you can go to the other one, you can still listen, you can still get in the chat room. I hope that answers your question there, Stern.
Yeah, getting back to our guest, how you doing, Jason? All right? Did you have a good rest break?
Yes, thanks. I managed to make myself a nice cup of tea.
Right. Well, I'm sort of getting the impression that that you're a man who is divided, really, because you're divided between what you believe happens at these events and the people that are personal to you that are telling you other things. Now, how are you reconciling that? Are you struggling with that? Are you sort of like trying to think? Well, are you still in the situation where you're thinking, well, it could have been something because this if someone was yards away from a bomb, they're going to be injured in some way, shape, or form with these nail bombs and things like that. And perhaps it was an incendiary, and just simply people that have been there have got caught up in the hysteria of it, and also the sort of fog of war that happens when something's happening like that. I just get that feeling that you're a little bit divided within yourself. What are your thoughts on it at the moment?
Yeah, because like I said, I'd sort of explained everything I'd heard away by, possibly, like I said, being a pyrotechnic. Even a pyrotechnic can injure people, can't it? I suppose if you're close enough to it, could get a bit of shrapnel or what have you.
If you've got fireworks in your pockets.
Yeah, but then when I hear about a girl has died who's, not that far, well, she lives close by, but a friend of a friend, has died in it, kind of thing. It's just, you think, unless she's being recruited as some sort of crisis actor, so how long can I go on being in denial? I don't want to have cognitive dissonance myself. I need to accept at some point and say, maybe this happened, but then everything I see on the news just screams hoax. I feel like they want a certain amount of us to think it's a hoax, knowing that there's a lot of people out there knowing that it's not a hoax, and that puts, it's all this divide and conquer type stuff. Because, the majority of the public will believe it without any evidence. They just need to be told it happened, and that, the rest of the people analyse it and then make their mind up, don't they? I just feel like we're being led to believe that it's a total hoax, but maybe something real has gone off in there. But I don't know how that works either, because if you have a real event inside a hoax event, what about these people who've really been injured? Their story's not going to add up, is it, with the official story?
Yeah, what puzzles me is the reaction to it. I mean, we had, to the Manchester incident, we had 22 people died, according to the official story. But the reaction seems to have been so much overblown. How many Brits died on that beach in Tunisia? Remember that one?
Yeah, I don't know.
And that just disappeared. There was we weren't having 2 minutes of silence. No, these were Brits the British people that were on other shores, and it just seemed to disappear within days. Yet this Manchester thing we've had concerts and we've had, minute silences and all this sort of stuff for people and yet I think on the beach in Tunisia, I think more Brits died on that. I think there were about 26. And yet that sort of disappeared like within days. It just seems to me that the media cherry pick individual things that happen, and perhaps they knew this were going to happen. Perhaps they knew it. You just don't know, do you? Because the way that the intelligence services and well, the deep intelligence services as well, the way that they act, it just seems like there's just like a team going about and doing these false flag operations. I think Ollie Damigard, on the interview that I heard him talking earlier on, he said that it was just a single team that were going about doing all these things.
Yeah, I think I saw some of that same interview. Yeah, I likened it. It's like a travelling circus type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting that the idea that there's one outfit that goes around creating all of these events. That's an idea that I heard several years ago from Phil McConnell, funnily enough. He was onto this a long while ago, and he was talking about how they actually managed to coordinate them and the systems that they use. And one of the things that stuck in my mind is the use of Marriott hotels. He does make a lot of mileage on the fact that Marriott hotels seem to be central in all this. And if you ever see a hotel mentioned in any of these incidents, it is more often than not a Marriott hotel. Thought that was quite curious as well.
Yeah, Westminster Bridge, was that a Marriott hotel by any chance? Did you see where they were taking the injured victims to?
That's
Yes,
right,
Marriott
yes.
Hotel.
Just across the
I've
road
stayed
from
in
the
that
hospital.
I've stayed in that very hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, just up the road from the hospital. So what do? They take everybody to a Marriott hotel because it's going to have all the
Across the
latest
street,
medical
mate.
facilities, isn't it?
Across the
Yeah.
street from the hotel.
Yeah. Which hospital is across the street from then, Jason?
Well, I don't know. Sent some or others, but but you know, they take him to the Marriott Hotel, and the Bilderberg Group use Marriott hotels
Yeah.
for the Bilderberg meetings, and so why would you be taking injured people to a hotel anyway? You know, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
We're
but
talking
you can
about-
imagine if they had a, like, they call it a triage centre or whatever, to set one up, but that just don't make sense, does it, when there's hospitals, whatever. And there's a hospital closer than the hotel, apparently.
Yeah, just across the road. It's just one side of the road or the other. One's
Yeah,
a hospital, one's a hotel.
There's no good reason, is there?
None whatsoever.
We've got a question here from Sturmy saying the firefighters stood down. Ambulances arrived at 1:55. For who or what? And also, Joan is saying the company that Ole mentioned was Crisis Solutions, and their website is www.crisis-solutions.com. If you want to check their website out. They have got a page where you can click and see who their clients are, but it says, strangely enough, many of our clients prefer to remain anonymous. I bet they do. And Sturm also had its St George's Hospital.
Right, is that the Westminster one, yeah.
Yeah, these things are just going to keep happening, aren't they? They're just going to keep happening. They're happening on a more and more regular basis, and I know that after the election they'll stop.
Yeah.
Because that's all they're designed to do is to divert attention away from the election, from what's going on in the country. So when we've had the election and this all dies down, because there's so many of them, we're not going to be able to decipher between each and every one of them. And you know, all the hallmarks that say to us, this is false flag, this is something, all the things that scream to people like us, to people like who aren't like us, or people that are sheep, I hate that, but you know, what else is there to say? And people that just take the news as it comes, they're just going to get more and more scared, aren't they? And the more and more scared they get, the more and more they're going to be able to be controlled. So what we have to do is we have to have a higher number of people that can see what's going on than the ones that are just going along with it, and so we need to keep digging at people and keep. How do we do that, Jason? How do we keep making these things aware to other people, to people that normally wouldn't be aware of this sort of thing?
I wish I knew. I think that's really the people I try and appeal to. Everything I share, I try and make it something that people who still think Muslims did 9/11, you know, they might get interested in it, because a lot of videos what go into like numerology and all stuff like that, I think it's going to be off-putting for people who, you know, like I said, still think Muslims did 9/11 when you start using numbers and dates as proof. I mean, it's all well and good if you're into that sort of thing, but, you know, I try and do it subtly, I suppose. Yeah. I could put that Manchester video on the other day on my Facebook, that the leaked foyer footage kind of thing. And at first, to be honest, I thought, in the video you see like a long strip of light, and I thought it was daylight coming through windows, and I put it on and I said, weren't it dark when this bomb went off, but it looks like daylight coming through windows sort of thing, which I'm not so sure about at all now. I think that were more a distraction from just the fact that it's obviously not a bomb scene or the one described, you know, by the, you know, what supposedly happened in Manchester, because there's just nothing. There's no debris, there's no urgency, there's no, well, nothing, is there, to suggest it's a real bomb scene. I think there's one sort of medical looking guy, and he seems to be directing an old man away from the scene down some stairs, and then just wanders around, and there's people supposedly laid there with their feet hanging off and stuff, so I don't know.
No, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to reconcile it as well, because people get so emotionally involved that if you say something, then people get offended by it, even though it's nothing to do with them.
Yeah. I've had many, heated debates, shall we say, with my wife. She's not really my way of thinking at all about these things. So, yeah, like I said, we'll have Piers Morgan show on in the morning. She watches all this rubbish, and she's there thinking, oh my God, this is terrible. And I'm thinking, yeah, isn't it?
Well, here's a tip for you then, Jason. If you want to get your wife on board, you need to spot one before it happens and tell her about it, because that's the way I did it with the Boston bombing myself. Yeah. My other half was pretty damn sceptical, and then I said to her, oh my God, it's Boston Marathon, it's going to kick off today, and she's like, yeah, okay. And then when it did happen, she went, okay, you were right.
Yeah.
But it is, until someone has seen this for themselves, it is so difficult to convince them, because the people who need convincing are the people who are still watching mainstream news, reading papers, and listening to people in the pub telling them that, you know, it's all about Muslimic ray guns.
Yeah, good old Muslimic Dave. Oh dear me! Oh Christ! So what do you reckon's in future for us, Jason? What do you reckon's gonna? Do you think there's gonna be more?
Well, definitely, yeah. I wonder, like you're on about election, I wonder if Jeremy Corbyn did happen to win it, whether they'd ramp it all up again and say, oh, it's because of his soft politics kind of thing, you know, an excuse to do more, or will it calm down? I don't know.
Well, you know, I've got this theory, and I've had this theory a long time before Richie Allen had it. In fact, Richie Allen had it about 3 weeks after me. But I said the Conservatives are throwing this election. Throwing it.
Yeah.
All you do is look at what their policies are, and Andy's posted in the autonomous media chat room. I don't know if in the RN chat room, but in the autonomous media chat room, an episode of the New Statesman that I've been posting a couple of times, and it's about them losing the election.
Yeah.
Right? They call it an election because they're supposed to lose it. So they put Alan Bastard in charge, and he's supposed to lose it. And this is what I think's happening. So I think that, I think that probably if Corbyn wins, which I think they put him in the way to do, we all know that when there's a financial crash, that just means we're all getting bum raped by bankers, right? And so there'll be a huge financial crash after Corbyn's been elected, and then it'll be blamed on Corbyn, and we'll get bum raped for all our money, you know, the poor, and then Corbyn's destroyed because, you know, he's overseen the biggest crash in history.
Yeah, no, that his style of politics, then he'll never get a look in, will it? You know, anybody who, you know, anti-war or anything, they'll be like, this is what happens when we have this kind of person in. But yeah, even the media seems to be more kind towards him, I've noticed over the last few days. It's like, you know, they're turning around and, you know.
But they're playing a juggling game, aren't they? What they're doing is they're juggling their two things. They've got. Obviously, they can't appear to be completely Tory. Otherwise, most of the people that are buying their rags, their newspapers, or consuming their media, are going to walk away from them if they're not getting a balanced thing. Because they can see that Corbyn's getting 10,000 people coming to see it, listen to him at Gateshead yesterday. 10,000 people turned up. You know, Theresa May, it struggles to get 15 people. And so they have to stage manage it and make it look like, you know, she's got some people. So
yeah, it's got appeal. So I've never voted. I say I'm 47, never voted. Well, I am tempted this time, even if it's just to cancel out. Because I know a few people who are voting Tory. If I can cancel one of them votes out, you know, that's reason enough for me. I've not got any hopes up like, but. Yeah, I'd like to see it. It'd be interesting to see anyway.
Yeah, I think I said it last week that if we get Theresa May, we know what we're going to get.
Yeah.
If we get Jeremy Corbyn, we might get same. We might just get the same, but you know, we're definitely going to get it with Theresa May.
Yeah.
But with Jeremy Corbyn, there may be a chance, and so. Yeah. You know,
at least expose the snake's belly, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So, does that mean you'll be voting, Jason?
No, I'm not voting. No.
No,
I probably won't do. But yeah, I'm seriously thinking of it.
I keep getting all the letters, but I keep sending them back saying there's no legal occupier here. Bog off.
Yeah, I've not been registered, I don't think, until recently. I was non-existent on the electoral roll.
I've just realised it's 6th of June. I was supposed to be having a visit from TV licensing today. Maybe they chickened out. But, yeah, they sent me a threatening letter the other day telling me I've got 2 weeks to get licensed and then they're going to come and sort me out. So... yeah, bring it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not bothered about them anyway. You can see what the media are doing, aren't they? You can see it's absolutely transparent.
Oh yeah, I mean, last time they came knocking on the door. Well, he came twice in a couple of days. First time, hello, I'm from TV licensing, and what's your name? I said, I don't answer questions, bye, and shut the door in his face. And he just went, bye, have a nice day. Next time he came back, same guy. I don't know whether he thought he was in disguise, but he said, I need to know your name. And I went, really, who are you? And I don't have to answer that. I said, neither do I, and shut the door again. So then he put a little letter saying, we called and you were out. And I thought, yeah, right, piss off.
Yeah, tosspots. I mean, that's it. I don't pay my TV license, and I'll proudly say I don't pay my TV license for the same reason I don't pay a paedophile to stand in the corner of the room telling me lies.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Jason, what what's going on? What's going on with your Facebook page? False flags and media lies.
Not a lot. Last few days, I've just get a steady stream of people joining it. It seems like every time there's one of these events, I get a burst of people joining. There's quite a few people posting on it. I tend to post on it. I try and put at least something on every few days, and yeah, there's been some interesting debates. Interesting stuff comes up on it.
Well, cool.
So, yeah. I think you're a member, aren't you, Jason? I think I made you a member when I set it up.
Yeah, I'm a member. I always see the stuff that's on there, and it's always interesting to read and always interesting to see. There seems to be quite a lot of things, media that goes around different places. So because I'm associated with different groups and different pages, I do see a lot of it. But no, it is pretty. I do enjoy it. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. There's I think a couple of hundred or so members at the minute, so it's not a massive group, but yeah, the more the merrier. People want to join it. False flags and media hoaxes.
And there's tons of them, aren't there? And we're not just talking about terrorism, are we?
Yeah.
There's loads of media hoaxes.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, one I picked up on a few years ago, I remember a helicopter crash in London. Crashed into a crane, apparently.
Yep, I remember that, yeah.
And when they were reporting on that, I mean, although there were no obvious political motive or anything with that, it just screamed hoax at me. And at the time I were going on to David Icke Forum a lot, and a guy on there, he did some really good research into that. And yeah, that was definitely I'd say it were like a practice run for, doing a false flag kind of thing that wouldn't get that much attention because, as I said, there were no political motive for that one. But it was so obviously an exercise in fooling the public, I'd say. Yeah.
Right.
So things like that.
How would you do that? How would you do that? How would you crash a helicopter? I mean, is somebody prepared to die just to do this, or is it a remote control helicopter?
What I picked up on, there was no helicopter in the scene. Yeah, if you go back and look at the footage, there's a pile of, something. There's nothing what you could perceive as being a helicopter. Some very dodgy stories and, crisis acting and stuff like that.
A bit like Shanksville then, because Shanksville on 9/11, that were completely staged, weren't it? It was like a hole had been dug and some crap had been torn into it. Nothing that you could discern as a plane, and no bodies or anything like that. So same sort of thing. Yeah,
and there again, and as I said, there was a guy on David Icke Forum did some research, and he did an application for CCTV footage, and it happened to have been missing. It were working up to that time, but the CCTV footage would have shown the helicopter coming down. It wasn't working again. So there you get another indicator. But yeah, it was. I don't know. It's just I don't know. Sometimes you just know when people are lying, aren't they? And these people were giving their account of what they'd seen of this helicopter. I thought, you're bullshitting, mate.
Were that reported as a terror event?
No, where apparently a helicopter just hitting a crane in fog and apparently dropped like a stone, except it landed about 1.5 miles away. And it landed in Vauxhall, Wandsworth Road, I think it were, which I think actually that's what made me think about it. Some of the images I've seen from this latest event look like the images what took place in this helicopter thing. I don't know if you're on the same scene. I was trying to work that out, looking at maps yesterday. I couldn't really decipher it, but there's one point in the helicopter thing where there's a burning car comes rolling under this bridge, and there's somebody shouting, "Hey mate, your car's on fire," kind of thing. And it looked like the same sort of bridge where I'd seen people. I don't know whether they've been knocked down or stabbed down there or whatever in this latest one.
Yeah, I've just found a very interesting post from Chris Jones on the matter. Let me see if I can find it again. I'd like to read it out because it's. I think it's worth reading out. Chris says, "Put your priorities into perspective. Makes you think." Via a friend. You know, we keep being told these terrorists were known to police and intelligence services, but they didn't have the evidence of them planning an attack, so they couldn't act. Well, just for comparison, imagine someone rang the benefit fraud hotline to report a suspect. The DWP would open a case file, assign one or more investigators per case. They'd spy on you at home and going about your day. They'd look at your social media and bank transfers, and if any circumstantial evidence is found in the investigation, they'd invite the suspect for an interview under caution. If they failed to turn up, they would likely be summoned to court and prosecuted anyway. Yet when people contact anti-terrorism hotlines to report a suspect, as happened in these last 2 terrorist incidents, MI5 does what exactly? It seems our country has monumentally got its priorities wrong. The DWP appear better equipped than our security services. That's because this government isn't interested in protecting us. It's more concerned with protecting itself from us.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think that comment just about nails it. And anyone who's thinking these incidents are real, just have a read through that a couple of times and listen back to it, and surely that's got to make you think. Because
it's still something having terrorism, doesn't it? Obviously, whether they hoax it, create it, in whatever way, terrorism suits. It gives them all the excuses they need, doesn't it? Look, I think they're going to use this to censor the internet. I think us chatting like this, it could be over in a few weeks, you know what I mean? With Theresa May, David Cameron went it not long ago, and I think Obama said the same thing, likened conspiracy theorists to being terrorists, said they're as bad as terrorists because, I don't know. But yeah, just link us to being terrorists, and somehow conspiracy theories fuel terrorism. They could be shutting us down, can't they?
Yeah, I believe when Mr. Cameron made that speech, I believe one of our upcoming guests, Dr. Nick Colostrom, went to his local police station and handed himself in as a terrorist. It's quite an amusing video if you can find that one online.
Yeah.
Because I think Cameron said anyone who believes that 9/11 was a false flag is as bad as the terrorists. And he went, well, that's me.
Yeah.
But the police were very dismissive, didn't even want him in the police station.
Yeah, I bet they didn't.
Yeah, of course they don't. I mean, I bumped into David Cameron, didn't I?
Oh, yeah. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall there, Jason.
Yes.
What happened there? Well, I think I remember you mentioning it on your Facebook. I can't remember what happened, though.
Yeah. Well, I was just in Donington Services, and I would just happen to be walking in, and walking alongside me was this short woman, and then there was this really tall bloke, and I looked, and it was David Cameron. So I got in his ear a bit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, then what you say?
Well, I was just calling him a war criminal. I was calling him all sorts of things, but I was doing it under my breath. I weren't really. And then when it got to the point, I went to the toilet and he went into Costa Coffee. And when I came out of the toilet, every single urinal had a soldier on it using it. Every single one. Isn't that funny, isn't it?
Yeah, going to. Have you seen, of Annie Logical? Have you seen any of her work?
No, I haven't.
Annie Logical. No. You, Jason?
Any logical? No, not seen any of her work, no.
Well, she, on her Facebook, before I'd heard much about people I know had been injured, she put on that she'd heard of people being injured, and she thought there was a hoax or a real event inside a hoax event, and she's done a video on that. So I'd recommend watching that one. So I'm sort of thinking that similar view of it. Although again, like I say, I don't know how that'd work if you've got real injured people and it doesn't match up with the official story. I don't know, it just confuses me now.
Yeah, you sound a bit conflicted, Jason. You sound a bit conflicted.
Yeah.
You've had this long-held belief that most of these, in fact, probably all of them, are all false flag events. And then when something that is, but again, what you're presenting to us could be, like you say, pyrotechnics. It could be some sort of setup. It could be some sort of drill that were going on at the time, and so I can completely understand why you're conflicted about it. It's just what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make that comparison in your mind and come to some sort of conclusion that you're happy with.
Yeah. I mean, I've always were of the mind 9/11 and 7/7. They happily killed people. In a false flag attack, so why not in other ones? But it's just that, like I said, I come up with that scenario how you'd get crisis actors involved, make them think I'm doing something good, but if people are really getting killed, then that don't really make sense. Maybe I have too much faith in humankind. But they, do something like...
it makes sense. You know why it doesn't make sense? Because you think like a human being. These people don't, right?
Yeah, I remind myself.
Think like human beings. They don't give a fuck. If people are going to be killed, then so be it. If people aren't going to be killed, then so be it. But I think they've gone from where you have 9/11, you have 7/7, where people were obviously killed and injured, right? Or not everybody that we see, but people were. An incident that did happen. 9/11, for God's sake! I mean, we've seen images of severed legs that have been in the rubble and things like that, right? We know people were killed. Then they went into this crisis actor thing, and it seems like shall I tell you what it seems like to me? It seems like to me that when you had the World Trade Center and people were killed, they were business people. They were grown-ups, they were adults. Then you get things like Sandy Hook, right, where they're having to portray killing children, right? And if it ever came out that they'd killed those children, then the game's over for them. So what they do is they just simulate these children's deaths. They make this look like children have died, but they haven't actually died, because we know Sandy Hook's just a complete nonsense. There were no children killed at Sandy Hook, so they can't do that. But if it's business people can accept that better because it's these buildings. So I think what they've done is they've gone from, all right, kill people, but we want a more emotional response. So we'll make it look like it's children, but we'll not actually kill those children because that would just destroy us.
Yeah, so what's going to pluck on the heartstrings, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's going to have the biggest emotional response, and we don't actually have to kill anybody. And so they've gone from that, and I think that they probably had to sort of half go back to doing things where people die, just simply because people nowadays are more vigilant and more looking and saying, well, actually, this person didn't exist. But if you can say this person did exist and now they're dead, it gives more of a credence to what they're saying has happened.
Yeah, because like I say, it reaches out then, doesn't it? Because people know her and people know them, and it spreads. Because like usually there'd been nothing. Like I said, just screams hoax. If I didn't have these personal stories, then I wouldn't for a minute consider that anyone had really been killed. But I've got to consider that in this one. Even though without seeing it for myself, there's always be that bit of doubt. So
fair comment, Jason. I'm mindful of the time because the 2 hours, it seems like a long time when you start it, but when you get stuck in it, it's just like, hell, where did that go? We're coming. No. We're coming to the end of the show. We've got a 4-minute track to play out with, especially for Jason's, I believe. And I just wanted to throw the floor open for you. If there's anything that you've not touched upon that you'd like to touch upon before the end of the show, the floor's yours, Jason.
Yeah, I suppose the message I want to get out is when we're looking at this stuff and we're calling hoax, just be considerate. There are people out there who at least think they have lost friends and loved ones. Sometimes I've made comments thinking there's nobody died, so how can I offend anybody? But in this case, at least, there are people out there who think they've lost loved ones, which amounts to the same thing, doesn't it? You know, It could turn around and bite us on the arse if we're saying they're not dead and all stuff like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, yes, we're trying to get to the bottom of it, and yeah, we need to be careful of people's feelings, but you've also got to be mindful of the fact of you really, I suppose, for want of a better word, a civic duty, because I've used the example that Ben Emlyn Jones cited when he was asked to be considerate of people's feelings. He said, well, if I'm walking home from the pub and I see an old lady across the road get mugged, and I find out later on the news that she's died from her injuries when she was mugged, what do? Do I report the incident to law enforcement authorities, or do I just keep quiet to respect the feelings of the relatives of the old lady who's been murdered? It's not a difficult choice, is it?
No. So yeah, I mean, I'd never criticise anybody for asking questions, and doing research and what have you. So I might be a real hypocrite because I've done it, but yeah, it's just having something close, people, having people they know when something's happened to them. I don't know, it's a strange one. But then again, maybe the answers are simple. It's because I'm so stuck in this thing, I think, that they weren't killing people anymore. But yeah, the bastards, aren't they? They will do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do hope that that the other Jason is right. And from my experience of doing the radio show with him the last couple of years, he did make a similar comment leading up to the last election, and yeah, it'll be ramped up leading up to the election, then it'll all die down, then it'll be ramped up again for the anniversary of 9/11, and then it'll all die down again just so we can all go shopping for Christmas. And you were absolutely spot on there, Jason, and I've no reason to think you're not going to be in a similar manner this time. At least I certainly hope you are.
Well, it's pretty simple to see. It's a cycle. It's a cycle of things. It's going to be. We're going to get this election, and then it'll all die down, and then the new thing will be probably French air traffic controllers disrupting people's holidays after June the 9th or 8th or whatever, when it all comes out. And there won't be any terrorist stuff. It's particularly with summer. There won't be any terrorist stuff, and then about 6 weeks before the anniversary of 9/11, it'll ramp up again. There'll probably be another couple of attacks in Europe, in our allies. So, yeah, it's pretty easy to predict, and it, you know, once you see it, you know, you just get so lethargic, mate. Oh my God, here we go. Here's another one again. And but that's not to diminish any of the suffering that people that are caught up in these attacks. They're just so unlucky. It's unbelievable how unlucky they are. Mm-hmm. Because you're more likely to be killed by a bumblebee than you are by a terrorist. And so for somebody to be caught up in one of these attacks, and these people that do actually die, and I do believe there are people that actually die. I don't believe there are in every single. I don't believe every single victim in every single attack has ever been accounted for, but I do believe that there are people that die. There has to be, because Jason has just told us he's got personal experience of that, and it's made him look another way at how he sees these events. You know, he's probably now more critical thinking about them than he was before, and that's a good thing. Yeah. And so, you know, there are people killed in these attacks, and I have got utter sympathy for them, but I don't know them. I can't remember them. I can't.
Yeah. I'm the same, yeah, I can't get emotionally involved, especially when they're wondering whether they are dead or not. I'd like to know, you know, if they are dead, then, yeah, I'll feel sorry for them, but, yeah. You can't get emotionally involved, can you, with people you don't know? It's like, unless the media tell you.
Well, that's the thing that the media does. What it does is it gets everybody involved, and it says, oh, right, we're going to have a minute's silence for the people of the Manchester attack or the London attack or whatever. And then everybody stops. So you get all these places, and I'm talking about all these social places like workplaces and things. And they all stop at 11 o'clock today for a minute's silence. A minute's silence to remember people they don't even know. Yeah. You don't even know. How can you remember somebody you didn't even know? It's not relevant to you. So what they're trying to do is, the media is they try to make everything so that it seems like it's relevant to you. Now, whether that's they're saying that the victim was of your religion, or the victim was of your race, or the victim was of, you know, born in your country. It's all ways to try to make it appear relevant to you. So then you get involved in that emotional crap, because it is crap. It's crap. If you don't know somebody and you're crying about them dying, that's crap. It is. It's crap. Why are you crying about somebody you don't even know? You don't know them. all that is you trying to portray yourself as some sort of, you know, empathetic person.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. It's just absolutely fucking nuts.
Yeah, it is. We've got an interesting comment from Nick Nomick in the chat room. Nick's saying that 23rd of September 2017 looks like the preferred occult date for future planned event. And I believe it's Uniquely there agreeing with him. He says, or at least 14 days before it, when looking at Cassini, and the 14th falls on a Jewish festival day too. So yeah, hopefully things will be on a bit more of an even keel by then, but I don't suppose we can hold our breath, can we?
I've heard that September 23rd thing before, because it's my dad's birthday. So I've heard it before.
Not the 22nd then.
Well, the 22nd does seem to be a very popular date, because we've had quite a few incidents lately on the 22nd, and 22 dead at Manchester, wasn't it? Yeah.
It happened at 22 or 33 or whatever.
Yeah.
At the Skull and Bones number. I don't know. Some meaning anyway, hasn't it, in I don't know, occultist thing.
That's right. They certainly seem to like their numerology, don't they?
Yeah.
So, Jason, what are you up to next few days?
What's
on your agenda?
I've been off this last week. I'm back at work tomorrow night. So I'll be battling my toothache. A few visits to dentists, and yeah, I'll keep an eye on what's happening in the world, I think. The world of terrorism, etc.
Good man. Yeah, keep your eyes open, Jason, and I hope the toothache improves very soon, mate, because it's a dreadful thing to deal with. There's no relief from it, is there?
Not much, no. No, I nearly... I messaged in Tara in A&E. Apparently I had an overdose the other day, but yeah. So I had to go without painkillers yesterday, which weren't nice, but I'm back on them now. All is good.
That's good. Yeah. Pain's never good. It's something I think most of us who are involved with Raconteurs and autonomous media are familiar with. I don't know what it is about the radio thing that we're doing, but everybody seems to be not in the best of physical health in one way or another, and we've all got our aches and pains. So we try and treat that the best way we can. Uniquely saying get some clove oil on your tooth. I know, I've heard.
Yeah, I've ordered some clove oil. Should be coming tomorrow.
Oh, brilliant! That's an old one. I had a girlfriend many years ago who she had real trouble with her teeth, and I know it's the only thing that worked for her. But I had heard it was quite difficult to get hold of these days. So
yeah, Amazon found it on. It'll probably come in a box as big as a car.
Yeah, I saw somebody bought some garden canes the other day, and it looked like
That for me.
Oh, that was you, wasn't it? Yeah, you bought some garden canes that came in a box you could have nearly put a person in, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could put a person in it. People did get in it afterwards.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much for joining us tonight, Jason.
Right, it's been having me on. Yeah.
It's been great, and if you're listening out there and you've got something you'd like to come on and talk to us about, get in touch, message me, Andy at raconteursnews.com, or Jason at raconteursnews.com, and we'll see what we can do about getting you on. So thanks everyone for listening tonight, and do stay tuned for Happy Hour with Not Doctor Tomorrow, which is coming up as soon as we play out. But I've got an appropriate song, because we've only played it once before, but it's called Boy From Sheffield, and we've got two Jasons. They're both from Sheffield, so enjoy this, fellas. Thanks for coming on tonight, Jason. Thank you, Jason.
Cheers, Andy.
And good night, everyone. We'll be back same time next week with Ole Damagard. Good night, folks.
Yes, I'm off to the hole in the road. I'm walking off school and I'm off to the city, watching telly all night and I'm not looking pretty. See, I got this job downtown, selling knocked off ladies' watches for £1. For a really dodgy man that I met in a dodgy cafe. You know, he said to me, the girl who sold these yesterday wasn't selling very carefully. Police came along and took her and all my watches away. So if you see some coppers, you grab my stuff and leg it, boy, right away. I'll be in the cafe. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way through life. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way through life. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way. So we spent a few hours and I haven't sold enough for my bus fare home. Street selling's pretty tough, so I turn on the charm for the lunchtime rush with a smile and a wiggle on my schoolboy touch. So the charm is working in the underground. There's a crowd of men and women gather round, and the watches they are going, the money is a flowing. Think I'll take a little extra, stick it in my pocket, spend you later. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way through life. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way through life. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way. I haven't sold a watch for an hour and I'm dying for a slash. I've had enough of this, so I'm off for a piss. Then a quick walk back round to the cafe, sitting at his table drinking tea. Looks at me suspiciously, then with a glance at the watch he says, how did you do? He paid me a couple of quid, then he said, would you like to come and work another day? I said I'd come back down on Friday, and to that he said okay. So with £2 in my pocket and another 5 in my shoe, I nipped down to Castle Market, where a man who looks like Leo Sayer is selling pots with cockles and prawns. You make me feel like dancing. Then off back to dinner on the Wiggers and then home. I'm just a boy from Sheffield, making his way